The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week on FRCmedia News, the City Council again delays a vote on the sale of the Bank Street Armory. A Diman educator receives national recognition for his work in support of students. And we speak to the new executive director at the Children's Museum. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, October 26th, 2023. This is FRCmedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. The Fall River City Council this week once again put off another vote on the administration's proposal to sell the Bank Street Armory to a local developer who plans to renovate the structure into a mix of market rate and affordable housing. Prior to the vote, a stream of residents pleaded with the council not to approve the sale of the armory, but instead to seek funding to rescue the historic structure and find ways that it can be used as a community center. When the council took up the sale 2 weeks ago, the matter was objected to by Councilor Linda Pereira, putting off the issue until this week, where she again asked her colleagues not to rush into selling the building until all options to save it are exhausted.
I agree with some people that came and spoke and said, we'll try. That's our motto. But we're not trying. And, you know, administration puts groups together. Councilor Diman and I were on the trash task force. And what happened to that? That left. Then they had the ARPA money. A councilor was on there, you know. So I don't think that any of these councilors would not want to work to sit down and assist the administration in, let's look at a plan. There are people in the Historical Society, the Preservation Society, that would like to come forward. Every time we do things in this city, we never think of calling people from historical or preservation to see what they think. Why do we have these boards if we're not going to listen to their input? I'll give it leave to withdraw. I'll give it a motion to table. I just think you need to, pull on these horses, hang on, think this through before just voting. And it's got nothing to do with any developer or anything. But what are we doing for the residents of our community, and who are we here to serve?
In the past, City Councilor Sean Kadim had voted in favor of selling the armory, but this week asked his colleagues to table the matter until more information is gathered on options to save it. He also said the fate of the building rests solely with the mayor.
There are a lot of people that are coming in, and there's sentimental value behind that, right? That, you know, I went there. There was the first circus that I went to. I played basketball there, and we've all have stories in terms of the connection that building has. But I think sometimes we've got to remove that emotional component of making decisions and make sure that we're making the right decisions. So that being said, there is a sentimental value. But from my standpoint, I just want to make sure that everybody understands that the decision that I'm making is based on what is in the best interest of the city, what's in the best interest of that building, and making sure that it's preserved. So that being said, I personally do not have enough information to make a very conscious decision and one that I can sleep with at night. If the administration is not committed to maintaining this building and holding the building, all we are doing, and this is why I got frustrated when people are saying that we're being bought, right? It's not about being bought. It's the fact that if we cannot force the administration to do something, so if they determine that it is not a priority and they do the bare minimum to that building and it continues to deteriorate, then we're going to have a problem, because the building that we say has so much potential is going to be in worse shape. And that's the concern that I have.
Supporters in favor of saving the armory say that there may be some community preservation funds available on a local, state, or federal level that will pay for needed repairs to the armory. The Coogan administration is looking to sell the building and estimates the cost of repair to be between $10 and $12 million, money it feels it cannot afford. The entire student body and staff at Diman Regional Vocational Technical High School took a break from their studies last Friday morning for a surprise celebration of one of their own. Most of those in attendance were led to believe the event was to celebrate the educational achievements at Diman through the years. State Commissioner of Elementary and Secondary Education, Jeffrey Riley, recognized the school for its well-earned reputation of excellence.
When you survey high school kids across the country, they report being disengaged. They don't see the relevance to the real world. And in fact, when you survey K-12 kids, elementary kids report being really engaged, and it goes down in middle and gets very low in high school, except in one place: technical vocational high schools, where kids can see the connection to the real world and to jobs every day. And I think we have perhaps the best technical vocational high school sector in the country. And with that said, I keep hearing about one school over and over, and I'm at it today. All I hear about is Diman and you kids, so I had to come see you.
Also in attendance was Dr. Jane Foley of the Milken Family Foundation, which has a focus on recognizing educators who've excelled in preparing students for success. She was on hand to present a Diman educator with the Milken Educator Award, which the organization deems as the Oscars of education.
At the Milken Foundation, we believe educators have the most important job in our country because they have that responsibility to prepare all of you for a bright future. Research and our own personal experience tell us the single most important school-related factor determining how much you'll learn each year, it's the quality of the educators you encounter. Think for a moment of all your favorite educators. Maybe it's here at Diman. Maybe it was elementary or middle school. The good educators make a difference. This school year, we're traveling all over the country presenting Milken Awards to outstanding educators. There's many great teachers and principals in this country, and one of the best educators in the entire country is here in your school.
In the end, Diman Assistant Superintendent and Principal Andrew Rebello was named the recipient of the award. Speaking to students at the event, Mr. Rebello credited the students with consistently performing well academically compared to other regional high schools.
Many would say vocational schools, that's impossible. Think about it. You have 90 days in academics and you have 90 days in shop. You have to get through the same exact curriculum as other high schools that have 180 days to do it. Many would say what we have accomplished is impossible. And we turned the impossible into the inevitable right here in Fall River, Massachusetts, because of our students and our teachers. And we're going to keep it going.
Following the ceremony, Mr. Rebello said he was surprised to receive the award and reflected upon his family's commitment to education.
My mind's going from my great-grandfather, who's the first educator in his village in Portugal. My mind's going to my parents, who immigrated to this country, to New Bedford and Fall River, and didn't speak a word of English, but made sure education was so important. So that foundation and that support was incredible. And then my own journey. My own journey has been one of understanding how deep that gap is for some, the gap of opportunity as well, and really trying to transform this community through education and reaching every single kid that walks through the door at Diman. That's where my head is right now.
Mr. Rebello became principal at Diman during the onset of the pandemic and said his job is to make sure teachers and students are put in the best position possible to succeed.
I think it's almost a stoic resolve to reach every student, and a stoic resolve to provide opportunities for them to be successful in life. I think that's where it originates, but beyond that, it's the students that are and the teachers that are in the trenches doing the work every single day. That's where it lies, and supporting them to be the best that they can be. To be recognized for doing well at simply something you love is great, but it's really about the teachers, supporting them, allowing them to be the experts here, and creating a foundation for students, that structure that students need so much to excel. And if we can capture them within their 4 years here at Diman and really get that light bulb on now, their life will be better because they came to Diman. That's something we firmly believe, and it drives everything. It's how we got up graduation rates up to 98%. It's how we became the highest performing school, high school in the area and beyond.
In his time as principal, Mr. Rebello said his job is to prepare Diman students to be life ready beginning the day they graduate.
The next generation workforce is right here at Diman, and we take that incredibly to heart to make sure we're producing the next generation of workforce. And I've advocated it at the state level through that planning council with the governor and Secretary Howe, and we're going to continue to do it. I think our economic blueprint will be a reflection of where our world is and where our country is and what this state and our needs are. So we're going to continue to produce the next generation workforce, and we'll continue to adapt, right? 10 years ago, education looked a lot different now. The needs of our community and state looked a lot different than it is right now. But we're going to continue to be adaptable and put students at the forefront so we have a better generation coming up, and that's really the goal.
Mr. Rebello will be joining other Milken Award winners from across the country early next year at a celebration in Los Angeles. He also received an unrestricted cash prize of $25,000. We're less than 2 weeks until Election Day, and Election Commission Chairperson Ryan Lyons wants to remind voters of some important deadlines coming up within the next week.
The voter registration deadline for the 2023 municipal election is this upcoming Saturday, Keith. My office will be open from 9 to 5 on Saturday, October 28th. And I ask the voting public, if you want to come in to register to vote, to please use the 3rd Street entrance to do so. Your applications to apply for mail-in ballot or absentee ballot must be submitted by 5 p.m. on Halloween, October 31st. As of right now, we have 4,600 applicants who have applied for a mail-in ballot, and I want to say as of yesterday, we have about 1,500 voters who have returned their ballots to my office. So I'm encouraging everyone who has their ballots, please return them as soon as possible. But the deadline to return your mail-in ballot is on 8 p.m. on Election Day, Tuesday, November 7th. They must be submitted by the close of polls on Election Day.
We have a webpage dedicated to the candidates running for mayor, city council, and school committee in this year's election. Visit frmedia.org/election2023, where you'll find replays of our forums and debates and see the candidates who recorded statements with us and sat for a brief interview. More people in Fall River were working in September compared to the year prior. The city's unemployment rate last month fell to 3.6%, down from 4.2% in August. The jobless rate in Fall River in September of 2022 was 5.2%. The employment picture in Fall River's neighboring communities and other gateway cities also showed improvement last month. The state's unemployment rate for September remained unchanged at 2.6%. The new executive director at the Children's Museum of Greater Fall River is excited about the prospects of expanding the capacity and resources of the 10-year-old attraction. Fall River native Joe Pinsonault has spent 40 years in the early childhood education field and is impressed with what the museum has to offer and is looking forward to expanding its impact within the community.
I go to people first, so I'm just amazed with the dedication and commitment of the board of directors. The staff here is phenomenal, and their dedication to the work is incredible, and it's really nice to start to get to know. We have regulars, you know, we have patrons in general, but then we have people who have memberships who are here regularly, so you're starting to get to know children and families in a more significant way, which is really great. I've been hired with a few tasks, but one is to really build the infrastructure of the organization. So a wonderful group of volunteers and dedicated people, and we really want to build the business aspect of the museum.
As the museum moves into its second decade, there are plans to refurbish some exhibits while exploring the creation of new ones.
After 10 years, it's time to do some switching up. So we have created, that was Callie, an artist and general funders to create the Forest Adventure Room downstairs. So that's a newly opened exhibit. It is beautiful, and our goal this year, after 10 years, is to either refresh or create entirely new exhibits. So it is time for that to occur. So we also have the Reading Nook, which is a new exhibit. Our big focus this year, it will probably be a 2-year project, is a capital campaign, which we will be starting in January to raise the funding to really have a substantial and significant water room. So we're starting to look at that. So that's the next major exhibit that we are looking at working on, and also refreshing the others.
Mr. Pinsonalt is also looking at ways to expand the community footprint of the museum and grow its membership and visitor base.
I think we're looking at really diversifying the services that we provide. So we're actually thinking of going back in history and actually creating a mobile museum. So there are certain groups that cannot come to the museum, particularly the public school, because of busing and transportation. So our goal is really to be looking at some funding, grants, foundational monies as well, to create a mobile museum where we would have a dedicated staff person who would bring actually the museum as a field trip to schools. So that's one of our big projects for this year. We're starting to do in some of our data collection, looking at zip codes and really determining where families are coming from, and then really building a marketing campaign, because right now the museum is primarily word of mouth. And we need to broaden that scope. We're also the Children's Museum of Greater Fall River, so we actually are really looking at, are we tapping all of the resources and all of the community that is Greater Fall River? So we're looking at that, as well as, you know, outlying communities that would come to visit the center, the museum.
With growth comes the need for an increase of the museum's financial resources.
So right now we rely on memberships, and we also rely heavily on grants and foundational money, but I'm really looking at how are we going to be tapping unrestricted funds so that we can broaden the cash flow base for the museum. So we have 3 major fundraisers that are going to be happening this year. The first is in November. It's going to be coordinated with a Giving Tuesday, and that will be an annual donor drive that will remain annual. So we'll be building the base there. We will start a capital campaign after the first of the year, and that is strictly to fund the water room. And then we're going to do our first walkathon in the spring called Miles for the Museum. So we're starting to plan that as well. So we're looking at various ways of getting funding streams into the museum.
As we creep toward the end of the year, Battleship Cove is looking back at its season of welcoming visitors to the waterfront. Executive Director Megan Rathbun says attendance this year rivals that of what the museum experienced prior to the pandemic.
We do have a long way to go in terms of bouncing back fully, but I'm happy to see how much we have rebounded. We compare mainly to 2019, last really good solid year before COVID. Our overnight program has rebounded in ways that we didn't expect. It's become, you know, incredibly popular. We're already booking out through the spring of next year, so we always tell people, if you want to come, you got to get your registration forms in now, because that program books up. And we are actually in a big project right now. We're placing all the canvas racks, 500 of them, where everyone sleeps. We've got a very, very generous donation that has allowed us to buy all new canvases for that. And so we're having to hand tie them all. But that just shows that the appetite for visitors to come and sleep aboard is really bounced back. And we're very excited to see what the next year holds.
Ms. Rathbun says a recent influx of funding is being put into renovations to the museum's fleet.
We've been doing a lot of big maintenance projects across all of the ships. This is something that you can see right when you walk in the gate. When you come out of our gift shop, we have our brand new helicopter hangar that took a while to get up. And so we're super excited. That was through a Mott grant. Our helicopters are back, they're painted, they're inside now, and they look great. We just finished up that huge project on the Battleship Massachusetts, painting her, but we didn't stop there. We're replacing lifelines on our main deck. We're restoring 2 spaces inside right now, one down on 3rd deck and one on 2nd deck here. We've got huge renovation projects going on the Kennedy. We've got a lighting project. We've been painting. We just had a bunch of chiefs aboard this weekend painting across all of our ships. We're doing a huge deck replacement on the Lionfish. So everywhere you look at Battleship Cove, we have something big going on, which does impact sometimes. You know, we can't let people into the work areas, but it means that we're improving and keeping these ships going for another generation.
We'll be back with more FRC Media News after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Laundromat driver, Red Suds and Bubbles Incorporated, located at 418 Quequechan Street, is looking for a full-time laundromat driver, responsible for performing timely and efficient pickups and deliveries to customers. Job number 198-08786. Bilingual legal receptionist, Leiter, Fogarty, and Ribeiro, located at 101 Jeremiah V. Sullivan Drive, is seeking a full-time bilingual legal receptionist to assist attorneys and legal assistants with general legal practices. Job number 198-08948. Manufacturing inspector, Invigen Pharmaceuticals, located at 927 Current Road, is looking for a full-time manufacturing inspector to monitor and ensure quality systems are maintained throughout all phases of the manufacturing process. Job number 198-06640. Grocery clerk, Stop and Shop, located at 501 Rodman Street, is looking for a part-time grocery clerk. For more information, call 508-672-2177. Bristol Community College, located at 777 Ellsbury Street, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Student Success Coordinators, job number 198-08913. Adjunct Faculties, job number 198-03141. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. Liberty Utilities will be conducting road work this Saturday, October 28th, across sections of Fall River. The work will result in several streets being temporarily closed from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Drivers are encouraged to seek alternate routes during this time. Detour signs will be posted and police detail officers will assist in rerouting traffic. The following work locations will include Bedford Street between 6th and 7th Streets, 8th Street between Bedford and Pleasant Streets, Fountain Street between Columbia and Ferry Streets by the Doran School, and Globe Street between Bay and Chase Streets. And finally, Bristol Community College this week hosted 7 students from Pakistan as part of the American-Pakistan Educational Exchange Program. Here's a recap of their visit, produced by Kendall Paul of Bristol Community College.
Push Deed. How did I do? Thank you. I'm glad I could do that. So welcome our distinguished educators and students from Pakistan. I'm very delighted to extend a warm welcome to you on behalf of the entire Bristol Community College. This exchange program resonates deeply with our mission and our vision. Bristol Community College provides an accessible, innovative, and inclusive education that prepared students to navigate and succeed in our ever-changing world. Thank you today for coming and for helping us to get a better understanding of Pakistan and how important it is for us to build relationships with your country.
We're thrilled to be collaborating with Bristol Community College. It has been an absolute delight seeing our students, 7 of them. They're from Fine Arts, Economics and Political Science departments at Kinnaird. They're working on different projects with the students at Bristol Community College. So I think it's a brilliant opportunity where, you know, the students from 2 different continents, they've come together. There's hardly any differences that they've highlighted. There's so much in common between the women from Pakistan and the US, and the camaraderie that we've experienced, I think it's phenomenal.
They are experiencing that beautiful experience of breaking the barriers. There's so many myths about each other's culture, and they say that what they can identify is so many similarities between them and their fellow students here in US. We need to invest more and more in such exchange programs, which are a beautiful and a very useful and a very conducive way of resolving the conflicts, of creating bridges, of breaking barriers.
Bristol Community College is an amazing college. The students here, the faculty here has been amazing. They're very supportive, they're very kind, they have been lovely, and they supported us so much. And the experience was overall a lot enlightening. I got many ideas, and it was overall a lovely experience, that I can say.
America is an amazing place, and I'm for sure coming here back for my master's because this experience was amazing for me.
It's a lovely place. The one thing that I like the most about America is its cultural diversity and the way people mingle and live together, and they don't give you stares. Well, I am walking here in my traditional dress and nobody's gawking at me. That's the thing that I find good in this college, in this country.
Like all Pakistanis, like all South Asians, we have some preconceived notions about US, about the Western Hemisphere, about the foreign world in general. But coming to US, coming to America has changed my perception a lot about the country, about its people. It's these little things, these little friendships, these little interactions that always leave an impression behind on you, and I think it's one of the most beautiful things about cross-culture exchanges.
Invest in your human capital, particularly your women, if you want peace to prevail.
Thank you so much for facilitating, the execution of APEX, that's America-Pakistan Educational Exchange Program. The experience here has been more than amazing. Your students are simply brilliant. The warmth, the hospitality that we've been experiencing over these last 2 days, it's been amazing.
We'll wrap up this edition of FRC Media News right after this.
Welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Hamlet. Hamlet is 2 years old, domestic short-haired, gray and white tabby. He's very lovable. He has the cone. He just did get neutered, so he is a little woozy from the pain med, but he'll be over that soon. But he is very lovable. He loves attention. As you can see, he was an owner surrender due to no fault of his own. But he's a love bug. He loves attention. He loves to play. He does like being held, although right now I think I'm going to just let him be so he can just wiggle around all over the place and get comfortable. But he's a good cat. He's a good boy. Kids he would be fine with. Very friendly, very playful. So if you'd like to meet Mr. Hamlet, he would love to meet you. Come on down to 300 Linwood Street and say hello to Mr. Hamlet. He would love to meet you and possibly find his forever home. Today we have Hooza. First name Hooza, last name Good Boy. And we'll see what a good boy he is. Set, good boy. Hooza loves treats. Hooza is a Tibetan Terrier. He is approximately 10 years old. Unfortunately, his owner passed, so that's why he was with us. For 10 years old, he does have quite a bit of energy. He loves to go for walks. He loves to play, and he definitely loves his treats. So Hooza is older. He does have a few lumps and bumps. He does have a cyst on the right side of his neck. I don't think there's any concern to that. The vet has checked him. He's got some spunk to him, that's for sure, for a 10-year-old. He's approximately 35 pounds. As you can see, he's just full of energy. If you'd like to meet Hooza, feel free to give us a call at Forever Paws Animal Shelter, 508-677-914, and come on down to meet him. Hooza would love to meet you.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website, frmedia.org, for the latest news and local community information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.